Chris Hodos is the head baseball coach at Pittsford High School, and he joins us tonight. Chris, how are you?
I'm fine, Andy. Thanks for having me on.
Well, I love talking baseball and all kind of sports with you, and our kids had a chance to play ball together last summer. I got to see a lot more then. I haven't talked to you a lot this year, but we're already halfway plus through the season. How's it been going for the Wildcats so far?
You know, we're young and we're struggling a little bit. Right now, we're 6-9 right now, but you know we're missing 13 games and we haven't played. It's not fun. You know, we spent the whole spring inside, so you know when you're playing inside, you don't get very good at baseball. And you know we're all right. We're having fun and we're getting better. We had 2 great pitching performances last Friday night against Camden. You know, we got beat 3-0. We got beat and we won 7-0. So, you know, we're playing well and we're starting to come around.
Chris Hodos, in addition to being the head baseball coach at Pittsford High School, is their head varsity girls coach and also assistant football coach for the Wildcats. And obviously, you've been around Pittsford all your life. You're kind of a lifer over there in blue, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. You know, I don't want to be anywhere else. You know, I respect all the other teams around here. Obviously, I have friends coaching everywhere around this area, you know. But, you know, I wouldn't trade my jobs for the world, I tell you that.
And you're really good at them. And as far as the baseball side of things go, when you get into the spring season, how's that different from what you do on the basketball court or even coaching football? Is it a different sort of tone or mentality for baseball, or do you kind of carry it through the same way?
You know, this last year was coaching the girls varsity basketball was my first year, you know, going to the girls side of sports. And I had to change. It took me about 10 games to figure out that I couldn't coach the girls the same way. You know, and I told the girls right off the bat, you know, we're all athletes. You know, I don't want any of this lady cat stuff or anything like that because you're an athlete. We're basketball players. But there is a difference. And, you know, it took me about 10 games and my beautiful wife, Becky, to tell me, you know, you need to tone it down a little bit. And that's what I did, and that's when things came together. We went on a big run at the end of the year. You know, obviously we won the district, and we showed real well in the regional. We were tied with Hillsville Academy, a great team, you know. We were tied in the fourth quarter with them. So, you know, I did. It's different. But as far as going from, you know, football to basketball, you know, it's always a little different because everybody's right on top of you in basketball. And or in baseball, you know, I can be a little more open. In football, I can be a little more open with the boys, you know. But basketball,
one of my favorite things. I'm sorry, Coach. One of my favorite things to do.
No, go ahead, Andy.
One of my favorite things to do. I watch as many Camden ball games as I can, and whenever Coach Hodos comes to town with that white 5-gallon bucket, he sits out there by the fence and kind of chirps the whole game. And you've got the vocal side kind of down to a science. When you're in the game, when you're coaching a high school baseball game, what are you trying to do as the game goes along?
You know, the biggest thing is keeping the kids moving forward. You know, you get kids flat-footed, you don't make plays. So when I'm always chirping, you know, I'm always telling them, you know, hey, you're on a creep. You're not standing, you know, because if you're standing flat-footed, you're never going to make a play. You know, you're going to take a false step. You know, it's just like coaching linebackers. Right. You know, you take a false step, you don't make a tackle. If you're one step slow, you make a false step in baseball, you're one step slow. You're not going to make that play. So, you know, I like to try to keep them doing that. You know, they'll be flat-footed, and you know, you got to remind these kids, you know, you're 0-2, don't throw it down the middle. You got, you know, so I'm always saying something like that. I don't know. You're right. I am always saying something.
And it's funny. I mean, you're really good at it. And the other thing I wanted to say was, like we mentioned on the top here, Owen got to play with your son Cage last summer. And even when he was pitching, the stuff that you were telling him while he was on the mound, he was able to really take some of that to heart. And I would think it would be tough to make an adjustment in the game like that, but sometimes it was just as simple as, you know, settle down and trust what you're doing. And you've been around the game long enough to give that kind of advice to your players, haven't you?
Yeah, you know, and it really benefited me. You know, I coached under our principal AD, PG, for 6-7 years, you know, with baseball, you know, so I got a good base, you know, there. And yeah, you know it is. It's as simple as, you know, slow your motion down. You know, you're rushing. stuff like that, just little things, and that's what it's all about. Just, it's not about any criticism. It's about making the kids, see what they're doing wrong. And that's, that's what I try to do. I don't try to be, I'm not one of those guys that are, nitpicking everything. If it's not broke, don't fix it. You know what I'm saying? So
I would think the guys have to have a ball playing for you because you're going to fight for them, and sometimes you will have words with umpires. How's your relationship with the umpires that you have on a week-to-week basis? I bet at the end of the day, you're pretty good friends with those guys too.
I am. I can't say we've had a bad ump this year, and I've been on the field one time, and all I asked, what happened? Why is this call? And he told me, and I walk off. It's not going to change a judgment call,
right?
But I want to make my point. And, like you said, I'm going to go to bat for my kids. If there's a problem, if something's going on. We had a problem on Friday night where my catcher hit the bat throwing down to third base. Well, I asked the guy, I'm like, is that a natural swing when the bat's above his head? And he said, well, you never know with high school kids. And I said, okay, yeah, you're right. So, I had to just take that, which I don't think it's a natural swing, but, it might have been. I had to say, okay, you're right. And, so, I don't want to get into it with them ever because they want them on my side, like you said. Because you're going to have, you have the same umpires, the same referees over and over in this area. And we've got good ones around here, We had Chuck Spring, he's a great guy. The other night I had him, I thought he missed a call, and he told me, he goes, you know what, Chris, I might have missed it, but you might have missed it too. So
right. Chris Hodos is the head baseball coach for the Pittsford Wildcats as they roll through the SCAA season. You talked about the weather and, talking to Coach Hollebeck down to Camden and a couple other guys, just a nightmare this year. I mean, last year I don't think they had one rain out down in Camden. This year you said you've already lost 13 dates. I mean, that's got to be really tough to get into a rhythm, isn't it?
It is, and not only that, like we were supposed to play Waldron tonight, and they were some of their schools gone tonight, so we couldn't play Waldron. And Bellevue had the unfortunate, their board president passed away on a Monday, and they had, so we missed 2 games there. So not only the weather, we've had some other things like that happening, and it is. It's hard to get into a rhythm. I'm lucky that I have 22 kids out this year, so I've had some JV scrimmages, and I've done some other things like that. And we've had 2 inter-squad games also, which, in the past you wouldn't be able to do that with 12, 13 kids. So I'm lucky there also.
Chris Hodos, head coach down at Pittsford, as they go through the baseball season. You talk about having all of the numbers, 22 kids out for baseball, and I always wondered about that for Pittsford because you've had such an incredible track program forever, and obviously a lot of the guys want to do track and be a part of that too. How do you kind of find the balance there in recruiting guys to play baseball and also understanding how important the track program is?
That's a great question. I work well with the track coaches down there. John Heff does a great job with them, and being such a small school, we got to fight, for every table scrap there is of kids, and he does a great job of getting the kids he should have, and I have the kids I should have, and like you said, 22 kids this year. That's the most we've had in Pittsburgh baseball since I've been there. I think one year when I was with Coach Cook, I think we had 18 one year. So, this was a great number for me. And I don't cut anybody. I keep them all. I had to order some extra uniforms this year. But I'm getting some JV scrimmages so the kids get innings. I don't want them to get frustrated. I want them to play for me because those kids are going to grow up someday and they're going to be my baseball players. Mm-hmm. But as far as getting the kids, John and I both do what we need to do. And we work well together. Obviously, being indoors, I always tell Coach Heff, I'm like, you have an all-weather track. Get your guys outside. But, we have to work, I don't have an all-weather baseball field, but, we do work well together. And, and Coach Smith has the girls program, and Coach Varney down, we got a new softball coach, Connie Varney, doing a great job with our softball team this year. And, we all 4 get together and we make a schedule and, we just follow it and we work well together. sometimes there's kids throwing shot puts and running hurdles, and we're pitching on the side of the gym, and so, we just kind of work around each other.
I haven't had a chance to see you guys yet this year, so I'm interested in some of the guys that are stepping up for you so far. Who are some of the names that are some of your leaders on that Pittsford baseball team this year?
My leader is Travis Wilson. He's my leadoff hitter, has been. And I tell you, it's going to be tough next year. He's a senior. My first 5 years, this is my 5th year as the head coach, I had his younger brother, Tyler, who's playing for Western Michigan's club team right now. He was my leadoff hitter my first 3 years, and Travis has been my last 2 years. So, next year when I go to pencil in my lineup, it's going to be tough not to write Wilson down at the top of the order. So, with Travis up there, he's been a catalyst all year. He gets on, he walks. He's been hit 8 times this year. So, he takes a pitch. He gets on any way he can. So, he's doing a fine job. He's my center fielder. I put him in center field every time. He catches everything that comes out there. Lance Horde, another senior for me, he's batting real well. He's my shortstop, and he's got a couple wins on the season. And then my best 2 pitchers this year are sophomores. Peyton Lucas, he is pitching real well right now. He's been beat by Colin 4-2. With Colin, they've won 20 games already. He got beat down at Camden 3-0 the other night. Had 10 strikeouts. So he's averaging 10 strikeouts an outing this year. So, and then another sophomore is Bryce Meredith. He's just came on as a pitcher. He shut out Camden last Friday night with had 12 strikeouts and 1 walk through a 2-hitter. Pitched well, just pitched a great game. And, he had a grand slam down at Reading. I got to say that. It's the first home run we've hit since we went to these new bats, these BB Core bats. He hit one in the left field stands last Monday night, a grand slam down at Reading. So that was kind of exciting for us also.
Oh, well, absolutely. I can imagine. And, you mentioned a little bit about some of the teams you played. Just briefly, what's your take on NCAA baseball this year? Where does the league stand? Who are the good teams that are going to be a tough challenge for you?
In our side, it's North Adams. North Adams, their top 2 pitchers with Thompson and Crosby are just outstanding. Thompson, he's mid-80s right now, throwing strikes. He throws a breaking ball. And then Crosby, he started out a little rough this year, but he's throwing real well right now. And I actually, Coach Arno and I, after every game, we text each other and tell, they just went up and dimed Baroque twice. They're playing well. But I tell you, on the other side, every one of those teams are pretty good over there. With Colin and Bellevue and St. Phil's playing well, and obviously Climax, they're always well off every year. So, the league's wide open this year. Everybody's pretty good. Over here, like I said, we're okay. I tell you, Jason down there at Canada's doing a fantastic job with them for being a first-year baseball coach. I know he knows baseball real well, but, obviously he's down there a couple of years now with the basketball program, so he knows the kids real well.
Right.
So he's doing a great job. He did a great job the other night against us, bunting the ball. He does things the right way. So
last thing, I'll let you go. What do you have left on your schedule this year, and where's your district?
Well, we're at St. Phil on Friday night, and then next week we have 7 games.
Wow.
Yeah, we're going to play a doubleheader Monday against North Adams, which was kind of disappointing because the last 3 years we played North Adams on a Friday night, and we played under the lights. We didn't start our first game till 6 o'clock, and then we played our second game under the lights, and then we had a great potluck with both teams bringing food. Last year at Pittsford, we didn't get out of there till midnight. We were sitting around there. We had hot wings, you name it, we had it. So it was that was kind of disappointing. We get to play North Adams on a Friday night, but then we're going to play Wednesday night. We have Wednesday off. We're going to play Thursday. We're going to play Jackson Christian home, and then I'd like to mention on Friday night, on the 24th, we're going to play Sand Creek down at Fifth Third Field.
Cool.
So that's going to be exciting for our boys. We had to sell some tickets. I've got a few of those left if anybody wants them. It's a money maker. We had to pay some money to get on the field. So, we are, like I said, it's going to be an outstanding experience for all of our kids, and that'll be exciting for us. Go down there. Go ahead, Andy. Go ahead.
I just wondered. I wonder, how do you manage your pitching next week with 7 games?
Well, we're going to have to pitch some kids that aren't going to pitch, that don't pitch as much. We're going to have to sacrifice some games. Obviously, we want to, North Adams is a big rival for us. We're going to try to, anytime I can beat Ernie, I want to do it. So him and I are great friends. We played against each other in high school. We graduated the same year. So, we've been great friends since high school. And anytime I can beat Ernie, I want to do it. So, obviously we're going to go after North Adams on Friday night or on Monday night. And we'll see what we have. I keep my kids on a pitch count, so they only get so many pitches a week, and that's the way it is. I've taken kids out, struck out a batter in the bottom of the last inning, and he's at his pitch count, and I take him out because that's just the way it is.
Right.
So we'll survive. I know I've got some young kids that can throw net this year, and we'll have to bite the bullet next week. And obviously, I'm going to start my top pitcher on Friday night down in Toledo because that's the way it is.
That's special.
We're going to go down there to have a good time, and I'm going to get all 22 kids in the game because everybody's going to see the field down there.
And last thing, where is your district and when is that?
We are going to play North Adams. We actually have a pre-district game this year for the first time in many years that I can remember. So we're playing North Adams at Camden next on the 27th, I do believe. It's a week from this the 27th.
Right.
We will play Camden Frontier. No, we play North Adams at Camden. I'm sorry.
Right.
So, you got to beat the best. They won the district last year, and so they're the defending champions. And if you want to play on, you got to beat the best. You might as well beat them. And our side of the draw is pretty tough. If we happen to get by North Adams, we'd go right into Reading on Friday. So on the other side is Camden and then Jackson Christian. So.
Well, you're doing a great job down there. I mean, your teams are always competitive. They act like they love to play baseball, and your enthusiasm is contagious. I can tell you from being around you last year with my kid, you know a lot about the game.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Best of luck the rest of the way.
Thanks, Andy. I appreciate it.